Hello, and welcome to Extending the Security Perimeter with Policy Demo. My name is Rick Moody, and I am a Senior Pre-Sales Solutions Architect for the Micro Focus Privilege Management and Monitoring Solutions. The solution we will be covering today is Universal Policy Administrator, a solution that introduces the next generation of policy management to the enterprise. Universal Policy Administrator allows your organization to leverage an existing investment in Active Directory and extend its capabilities to the non-Microsoft ecosystem. This includes systems that run Linux, Mac, and non-domain joined Windows, whether these systems are in the cloud or on-prem. By using Universal Policy Administrator, you can join these systems to the Active Directory domain and utilize native group policies. This allows for the application and continuous enforcement of the configuration of these non-Microsoft systems. In this demo, you will see how to manage a GPO for Linux servers that defines settings for the firewall, deploys a configuration file for a custom application, and installs a utility for that system. Additionally, you will be shown how the solution can enforce changes on the system that are defined by the applied policy. First, let's take a moment to understand the challenges of managing policies across the enterprise. Organizations are facing increasing pressure and requirements to manage their often siloed environment to meet regulations and standards, both on-prem and in the cloud. In order to ensure all managed systems across the enterprise are aligning with these regulations and standards, it requires extensive coordination and communications across these siloed teams. This adds complexity to the process and is prone to errors in systems in different silos being at different levels of compliance with others. These silos can lead to areas being unmanaged or undermanaged, leading to the possibility of security vulnerabilities being left open to be exploited. It is important for every organization to ensure that all systems within the enterprise are configured and aligned to the regulations and standards that apply. The difficulty is that each silo has different methods that are typically used to enforce these regulations and standards. Nearly all companies have an infrastructure in place that can assist with better aligning these efforts across the teams, but is unable to do it on its own. This is where Universal Policy Administrator, UPA, builds on that existing infrastructure and extends it to the entire enterprise. Through UPA and Active Directory, you can extend your configuration management to the enterprise by leveraging AD GPOs to enforce unified configurations and provides capabilities to maintain those configurations even if they are changed, either accidentally or maliciously. Universal Policy Administrator allows for the centralized offline management of policies for not only Microsoft systems, but solutions that are not part of the Microsoft ecosystem, both on-prem and in the cloud. It provides change management and version control, granular delegation of administration to admins within their own silos, addresses possible policy conflicts and gaps, and assists with the enforcement of policies to help prevent configuration drift even if the systems are unable to communicate with the domain. Having a unified universal policy management solution extends and ensures your environment is configured as expected and breaks down the silos that exist and complicate those efforts. Now we will take a look at Universal Policy Administrator. Let's get started. So I'm going to get logged in. And on our initial landing page, you're going to see a number of systems that have been discovered within the enterprise. The one we will be dealing with today is this Linux server, CG01. On the Universal Policies page, you'll see a list of policies that have been imported into the offline repository of Universal Policy Administrator. We're going to be working with this Linux configuration policy. First thing I want to show you is the settings that are already applied to this policy. You can see here I have a deploy file policy that deploys a file to my Etsy custom app directory. I have a firewall policy that denies SMTP. and I have a command that runs to install htop. Let's now check out the policy, and I have the ability to add additional policy configurations. As you can see here, I'm able to manage AD logins, manage configuration files such as SSH and sudoers, or even custom configuration files, deploy additional configuration files for applications, execute other commands, make additional firewall configuration changes, and even define what services I want to make sure that are started when this system is up and running. Let's add another firewall policy. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to choose Allow FTP. As you can see, it predefines what the settings need to be for this policy. If I want to change anything, I can simply check and move it from inbound to outbound. I can turn it into a deny rule. I can add additional ports. I can even go as far as adding specific IP addresses. I'm going to leave it at the default and click on Add. Once the policy has been added, we can review not only that new policy setting that we added, but also look at the details of the other policy settings and make any changes that I might need to have. You can also see the setting for SMTP and the commands for the htop install. We don't need to make any more changes, so I'm going to go ahead and check this policy in. We're just going to simply add a comment, updating firewall configuration to allow inbound FTP traffic. Now that the policy has been checked in, the next thing we want to do is submit this for approval. Please review the additional settings for firewall configuration. This now gets submitted for approval, and an approver can come in and review the settings that I made. Some things that they have the ability to do is look at the changes and compare the last two versions. So they can see what was in version 6 and what was in version 7 and get an idea of what was changed so they know exactly what was done and nothing gets overlooked. They also have the ability to look at events associated with that. You know, who checked it out, who updated it, get a full history of that policy. Additionally, I can also look at any times that this policy has been exported into Active Directory. So I've done my due diligence. I'm going through here and I've looked at the configurations. I approve these configurations. Now I'm going to go ahead and approve the policy. Now what can be done is it can be exported into Active Directory. All I need to do is come in, find the associated policy that I want it to be linked to. If I can find it. Check the box, click Add, click on Save. That policy has now been exported into Active Directory. Now that that policy has been deployed to Active Directory, I want to take a moment to show you how our bridging component is able to enforce configurations that are defined within that policy. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you that custom configuration file for that application so you can see how it is currently configured. As you can see, it has just a single couple of lines. Secure this app equals yes. Well, let's go ahead and let's edit that file. I'm going to open up Nano with that file. And we're going to come down here and change yes to no. We're going to commit that change. back to the file. And what I want you to notice over here is our file watcher process from the agent just detected that that file had changed. So within the next 60 seconds, we're going to kick off and reinforce that change, and I'll show you that that change does get applied. So simply we'll just check a cat again real quick. You can see it is in fact no. While we're waiting for that to occur, I also want to show you that htop is currently not installed. So when this triggers within the next about 30 seconds, we're going to see that not only is the configuration of that file going to be changed back to the way it was, we're also going to see that it installs that htop utility for me to use within this window. On top of that, I'll also highlight within the log file here that's tailing here on the right hand side, showing that it did in fact apply the allow IP table rule for FTP. So at this point right now, you can see at the bottom of the log, it is running that zipper command. It's going to run that zipper command and it's going to apply, it's going to install that htop process. Additionally, it applied that configuration file back into the system. So it's completed. Another thing I want to show you before we get too far, as you can see up here, we have the allow rule for FTP. So this is all defined by that policy for the Linux configuration that is linked to the OU that this Linux server resides in. Now if we come back over here and I run a cat on that custom app, you'll see that the configuration has been set back to yes. And if we run htop, you'll see that htop is now able to be run from the session that I have connected to that server. This concludes this demo, and I appreciate you taking the time to explore some of the capabilities that Universal Policy Administrator has to offer. Universal Policy Administrator is the next generation of policy management and provides organizations the ability to leverage existing investments to extend their security perimeter with policy to the enterprise. Thank you, and we will see you in the next demo.